Hello and welcome to Topham Chats, the show where I chat to various members of the Rooster Teeth community. My guest this week is Katie. Hey Katie, how are you?
Hello, I'm good.
Excellent. So, right, let's start off, as I usually start off, by asking you the question, Rooster Teeth or Achievement Hunter?
What the...
Yeah. See, starting off with the difficult questions. And you're like, yeah.
Why?
Because it's fun, and then it gives me an idea of where to go.
To be fair, I do watch more Achievement Hunter videos than I do Rooster Teeth videos.
Okay. Is that because you find, like, the personality stuff that they do more interesting than the, I don't know, narrative content side of things more interesting?
I don't know. I think it's just how I started off, and I've just kind of kept going that way. But I listen to the podcast at work, which usually sends me into creases at my desk, and people around me look at me funny.
Okay.
Which is always awkward, but I'm a regular listener of the podcast. I love it. I think it's brilliant.
Podcast is great. It's like my favorite thing because although that's at the moment I'm like I binge on so many podcasts, it's ridiculous. I think I listen to, I don't know, maybe 15 a week, like not just what Rooster Teeth's ones, but yeah, that's beside the point.
Wow.
So how did you discover, I guess, Achievement Hunter then, if you say that's where you found them?
A friend of mine showed me the Galacticraft first part. And I went back and watched them all from the start in like 2 weeks.
All the Minecraft ones then,
all the Minecraft ones, and then I moved on to all the others, and now I watch them all because they're brilliant. I just watched the Go where they're running around the office. No, not Go, Versus.
Versus, yeah. With the cherries around the office, like, oh my god, it's just so ridiculous.
I want to set that up at my work. I wonder how many people I can get involved. Chair races.
Yeah, like, guys, we're competing. Like, what are we competing for? Just for fun, everyone.
I want chair races. That's it.
Crazy. So, how long ago was it that you discovered that? Like, did your friend show you the stuff on the site? And how long was it in between you discovering it and joining into the community side of things?
It must have been over a year ago, because I've been on the community for a year now.
Cool.
I think my communiversary was over Christmas, because I missed it, because I was busy in like food comas and hangovers and all sorts.
So much shenanigans go over Christmas. Like,
I think it took me a couple months to get into the community. I didn't actually realise there was a community side, and then I think I was clicking around on this, cause I found the site because he showed it me on YouTube.
Mm-hmm.
So I found the site later on, and then I was like wandering around the site and ended up joining a couple groups and chatting to people and just led on from there.
Yeah. How did I find you on the site? You must have done something, because I was like, oh, Katie's a person. Was it science, or was it UK based one? I can't remember.
It might have been. It could have been Red vs Blue UK, or it could have been science. I know you commented on my profile. You saw something. Tomb Raider.
Tomb Raider?
Yeah, you said something about wanting to do the multiplayer in the top-down Tomb Raider.
Oh yeah, we never did that, did we?
No, we never.
We wanted to play. Oh, Lara Croft and the. Well, it wasn't Temple of Osiris, was it? No, because Temple of Osiris is the new one. Lara Croft and the Guardians of Light. That was it.
Yeah, that was it.
And you were new into the community at the time. And I was like, oh my god, because that was on gold, wasn't it? And I was like, oh yeah, we should do this. This is awesome. And then it never materialized because I'm poorly organized. What a mess.
I still haven't got that achievement. So
no, neither have I. I'll tell you that. We should totally do that. We should totally do that.
Sounds good.
Yeah. So you discover the community through like just exploring and things like that. How did you get involved in the groups you are now? So you're one of the members of the Eargasm podcast, along with David, Scott, Elsa, and obviously yourself. So how did you meet them, and how did the whole podcast and group idea come together?
I wasn't there for the start of the podcast group. I have been brought on in the middle somewhere.
Okay, yep.
I originally met Scott through another group that I was part of, and a bunch of the other girls on the site that I'm friends with. I met them on another group, and then Scott asked me if I wanted to be a guest on the Eargasm podcast. I'm trying to think when. Must have been before. No, it was just after I moved down to Maidenhead.
Mm-hmm.
And then they asked me back for good. So I was a guest, cool. And they just wanted me to stay, which was lovely. It was really, really nice, and I really, really enjoy it. I really look forward to recording it every week. We have mega technical difficulties a lot of the time because Elsa's internet sucks ass. But
yeah.
Otherwise, no, it's brilliant, and they're an amazing bunch of people. I really, really enjoy it.
Oh, cool. Yeah, that's been something that I've seen going on, and I'm just like, cool, we're still going with things, and things are happening. And you posted an update, was it last weekend? Yeah, it was last weekend, because I was like, immediately, Katie, come on the podcast and chat. And I was like, yeah, I can do that. That's a thing. And and also one of the other things is that you were a scientist and we had something in common. So like,
yeah,
I was like, oh God, science is awesome. What kind of science do you do, and how did you get involved with it? We're just like, I'm good at science, might as well do it. Or...
yeah, it was kind of that way. My biology teacher kind of said to me that I had a aptitude for it. I think it was something I found probably in secondary school, that I really liked science. I really got into it, and went on to do biomedical science at university and did my undergrad in that, and then I went on to do my master's in medical genetics up in Newcastle.
Oh, crazy.
So I quite like the genetic side of things, but I think more now I've moved away from the labs because I don't really like working in labs anymore.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm finding that I really like the crossover between technology and science. So like the crossover between technology and medicine is absolutely fascinating to me. I find it really, really cool. And I'm kind of using that in my job because I work at a pharmaceutical consultancy company.
Yep.
And there's a lot going on in the pharmaceutical industry at the moment where it's digitizing medicine.
Yep.
So they're basically, the FDA has released guidance on mobile medical apps. So basically apps that turn your mobile phones into medical devices. So you can now use your phone to perform a otoscope assessment on somebody's ear and then contact your doctor and he'll be like, oh yeah, you need to do this.
Oh, that's really cool.
It's really neat, and there's all sorts of them. There's one that links up if you've got like a chronic disease and you have to monitor things in the home, it links them all up and sends updates to your doctor and tells you when you should be taking certain measurements, and it will also produce readouts for you so you can understand what the measurements are. Or there's unlimited ones. There's a really, really cool one. I think I've probably mentioned it on the podcast, but they're currently developing a game app that is to diagnose Alzheimer's. So basically it's getting you to do a route in like a 3D world, and then it gets you to do the same route but like throws different obstacles at you, and the difference between the two is meant to be some sort of indicator of if you could have Alzheimer's later on.
That's just crazy what we can do with technology now.
Yeah,
just
amazing.
Absolutely insane. Okay, so that's science, and science is a lot of fun. I get my hands messy every day in the lab, and it's awesome. But I guess I'm still mentally younger than you. I'll say that. Why not? But yeah. So you posted on the Rooster Teeth site recently. Actually, was it yesterday? Day before? Your Pac-Man dress. That looked so cool. I was like, oh my God. Like, oh. So what inspired you to make that?
I'm going to a friend's this weekend. It's a PhD party.
Okay, yeah.
Well, it's like all the postdoc lot anyway.
Yeah.
So it's in a kids' soft play area, you know, the ones with the ball pits and the slides.
Definitely.
And all that. Yep. Mm-hmm. With a bar, and it's fancy dress, and the theme is P. So I was trying to think of anything that started with a P, and I was going to go as Pikachu, and then I thought a lot of people go as Pikachu.
A lot of people go as Pikachu because Pikachu's awesome. But
and I didn't want to go as a princess or a pirate or anything like that, and I was like, Pac-Man. So I tried to think of an idea that would do Pac-Man, but not make me wear a giant spherical object because I'd have to crawl through tunnels and stuff.
Or everyone would just roll you around everywhere.
Yeah, there would be that problem.
Oh my god,
too.
so much shenanigans.
They've been using me as a ball. I don't want to be a ball. Yeah, so I tried to think of like a way to streamline it. So I thought I'd make the maze, and then I thought I'd make Pac-Man Miss Pac-Man, because she's got a bow.
She's got a bow.
But I thought I'd make Miss Pac-Man really big so that it really emphasised the fact that it's a costume and not just a Pac-Man dress. But I love it. I'm really, really proud of it.
It looks so good. I saw it, I was like, oh my god, this is awesome. Because you've been like putting photos up for like the last like 2 weeks or so? Or
yeah,
have you been
it's taken
tweeting
me
them? I can't
about-
remember them.
It's been tweet and on the Rooster Teeth site.
Okay.
Because I want everyone to see it. I'm just
Yeah.
so proud. But yeah, I've been putting up various stages because I like putting up the stages because if anybody ever asks me how I've done something, the pictures are there.
Yeah,
So
definitely.
I put up a tutorial of how I made a waistcoat pattern from scratch.
Mhm.
And a lot of people commented on that and said it was really helpful, which was it was really nice to hear actually. But yeah, I quite like making the tutorial sort of stuff, and if anybody ever wants help, I'm always happy to give it.
Yeah.
Because it's a very big hobby of mine. I love sewing.
Cool. I guess then I'll ask, do you sew often, and do you have many projects that you're also working on, or is that you just finished that project and just like, maybe I'll start something new at some point?
Yeah, it's more that sort of way. I tend to do them in little stages. If I have a reason to make something, I will sit and make it in like a couple days.
Yeah.
So I will like focus on it. But I hop between the clothes. I do baking sort of stuff. Don't know if you've seen the picture of the cake I did. It's the Great Pumpkin Charlie Brown.
I think I've seen it, but I cannot remember right now.
Yeah,
Oh,
I
like,
made
off the
it
top of
was
my head.
for a work bake off thing. To be Halloween cake. So I made mine. It's the Great Pumpkin Charlie Brown because I watch it every Halloween. Halloween's one of my favourite holidays.
Yeah.
But it did not translate to the UK. They don't understand what It's the Great Pumpkin Charlie Brown is.
Okay. I don't know what that is. So I just assumed it was. I made the assumption of what it is. So I think I could. If I saw it, I'd be like, that makes sense. But
yeah, it's
if I were to just see it
Halloween
randomly with no
episode.
context, I'd just be like, oh, okay.
The Americans in the office got it, but the English people did not, and there was only a few Americans in the office.
Right. Crazy. So, what games have you been playing recently?
I got my Xbox One
Woohoo!
for Christmas, so I've been playing Assassin's Creed Black Flag because I
Yep.
wanted to wait for it on the one, and it's bloody beautiful. Really, really fun game as well.
I've got
I'm
it, but I
really
haven't loaded
enjoying
it up. I'm just like, oh god.
It's so good. It's really fun. I got GTA on the one. I gave
Okay.
in. It's pretty.
Yeah,
And
I
it
decided
is-
against it, but
It's very much a different game doing it in first person. I really like it. And I got the Evolved beta. I love it.
oh, is it good?
I'm a massive fan of Left 4 Dead. It was one of the first games I played.
Uh-huh.
And it's basically the same sort of game, but it's a new story with new mechanics, and it's pretty as hell. It's absolutely stunning.
Oh, okay. Yeah, it's I've looked at it and I'm just like, I'm not sure whether I want to get it or not. Like,
I'll definitely
because-
have it play. It's really fun.
yeah, but I'm sure like, well, I was burned on Titanfall because that wasn't very good, and everyone was playing it for 2 weeks and then they weren't playing it anymore, and that was a multiplayer only game, so I'm kind of like, maybe not multiplayer only. But then again, I play Destiny like a demon, like so much Destiny, it's just stupid. So I'm just like, oh god, I did. Yeah. So what was your favourite game of last year? I'll ask you that. Because games are fun.
Oh, that's really tough.
But
'Cause
games
I
are
keep-
excellent.
Going back and forth between older games and newer games, because I'm actually quite new to the gaming community.
Okay, yeah.
Because I only got my Xbox 360 about 2.5 years ago.
Uh-huh.
And then I couldn't play it because I was in my third year of uni, and then I went and did my masters. So I'm really kind of playing catch up. So everything's kind of molded together in terms of release games.
Okay, so what have been your favourite games to play then? Because
Trying
there's
to think.
quite a lot of games out there,
Yeah,
and
that's
there's a
a
lot
really
of
hard
awesome ones.
question.
Yeah, like at the moment I'm just going back through I say I'm going back through Kingdom Hearts 2. It was re-released in December, so
Yeah.
it's justifiable that I'm still playing that, but I still go back and I play the original Dark Souls because I adore that game more than like any other game. It's just like, oh god. I wish I could play even older games actually, but there's some limitations to that.
Yeah, it's a bit of a pain going back and playing older games because the mechanics are different. And
Yeah,
it kind of throws you off. Because I wanted to go back and play the original Bioshock. Because I love Infinite, and I've always loved the Bioshock franchise. It's just a brilliant story.
Yes, it is.
Not a massive fan of the second one.
I tried to play the second one. It did not work.
Yeah.
And I was just like, nope, not doing it, and then gave up.
Yeah, see, I wasn't a massive fan of the second one either. But the first one is absolutely brilliant. And have you played the DLC for the Infinite?
I have not played Infinite at all yet.
Oh, okay.
I need to. It's on my list of games to play, but...
But yeah, there's a reason I wanted to go back and
it.
play the first one.
Yeah.
But yeah, the mechanics, I can't do it anymore.
So good.
Yeah, but I really enjoyed Titanfall. I'm not gonna lie, I liked it.
I didn't enjoy it as much as I was expecting. So much so that I think I've got rid of it. I'm just like, no, I don't have it. I don't need it anymore. But...
I think it probably got hyped more than it needed to.
Yeah, and it was like one game that came out that everyone's like, oh, there's no games coming out at this time, so everyone played it and then realised that it wasn't great, but it was enjoyable to play with other people. But if you didn't complete the campaign once through, like some people, looking at me right here, then you'd find it really difficult to find games and go through the main story kind of mode. And it's like, oh dear, not worth it.
Okay. I'm just looking at my games. Watch Dogs I need to get rid of. I did not enjoy Watch Dogs.
No, I didn't play it at all. Like it was like I should play that, and I've done that with a lot of games over like the last few years. Just like I should play that, but then hear people talk about it, and I'm just like, nah, probably not then.
Yeah, it kind of went meh. I love GTA. I might just say I have spent a lot of time in GTA this year. I really enjoyed that. The online GTA. I wasn't a huge fan of the story, but playing it online is probably one of the most fun things I've ever done.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I didn't think this story deserved like all the praise that it did get. The gameplay is pretty good, but yeah, I'm still a bit I'm burnt on a lot of games. Like a lot of games I was just like not necessarily as excited about as other people, but everyone was like, oh, it's awesome, come and play with me. So I got them, and then I was like, oh, if I'm not playing with other people, this isn't the best kind of game to play, really. Yeah,
I think you need a posse to play some of the games that came out last year.
Yeah, definitely.
People that you can just go, oi. I think the only one that I've put in quite a few hours. I went back and played, what's it called?
I don't know. Tell me a bit about the game.
Dishonored. I
Dishonored?
went back and played Dishonored.
Yes, that's a good game. I enjoyed that.
Really enjoyed that.
It's a very, very good single-player game as well. So
yeah.
There's like no reliance on anyone else. And yeah, I went back to play it a second time, and I was just like, oh, I don't feel like doing it a second time because I played it exactly the same way as the first time. I was like, if I mess up, it's like, oh, well, I'll just kill everyone. Why not? Like, oh no.
Yeah, I'm a bit like that with it.
Sneaky. Oh, they've seen me. Stab.
Yeah, that's the only way to go.
I know,
Otherwise,
right?
you get put back really far, and you're like, oh.
Yeah.
Oh no, it's fine. It's still going. Oh, that freaks me out. Okay, I hope that's still going. All right. Anyway.
Oh well, I'm sure I'll notice. Like, okay, it's all fine.
Oh yeah, and everyone got me to go back and play Dragon Age Origins. I really enjoy it, but I'm stuck at the moment and I can't get past a certain bit and it's driving me nuts, and I just keep messaging Elsa like, Elsa, fucking nerd, help me with this game.
help. Yeah. I've never played any of the Dragon Ages, but I say I've never played them. Other people have been like, hey, give this a go, and it never worked out for me. I just didn't get along with it. So I'm just like,
that's fair enough.
Not bothered. So yeah, just gave up on that. But yeah, games are weird because they can be in the same genre as most of the games you enjoy.
Yeah,
but
I
they
think
just
it
won't
very much
fit
depends
you
on
at
the
all.
story
So,
and how involved you get with the story. Because if I can't get involved with the story
yeah,
for a game,
definitely.
I lose interest immediately.
Fair enough. Cool. I guess we've reached near the end of the time that we're going to be talking. So why don't I get you to ask me a question? This is something I have asked you to prepare before, so
Yeah,
it
we'll see
should
how
be
interesting
interesting, and we'll see where it
my
goes.
question was, has there ever been a moment in science that has made you go, wow? Like, mega wow. Like, this is why I love science.
Ooh.
Ha!
When I was at university, we did a reaction in a fume covered with where you what it was one of the coolest things that I've ever seen. It was basically what you need to do is you need to take some sodium out of an oiled container, dry off the oil, and then dissolve it in mercury. And it was just the coolest looking thing. Like, you've got this solid chunk of sodium and you've got stirring mercury, which is horrendously toxic and dangerous. And we've got this lab set up and we've got you've got to add things on top of the reaction as well, so the reaction can all be fused and it'll all work. But you needed to. It was all set up preparation for like the first part of a multi-step reaction, and I just remember like everyone, because you can't have sodium in air as well because it will start igniting and reacting with the moisture in the air and everything, and it's crazy. So it was very like technically difficult as well as being just so damn cool because you're putting metal into liquid metal and it's just dissolving in it and just disappearing. You're just like, oh my god, I can't believe that's really happening. So that was one of the things that just is like so damn cool to me. It's just like, can't believe that just happened. But like a lot of the things that I learned at university and like a lot of the reaction sequences and things, like you can have these chemicals in syringes and they'll be fine, and like if you squirt a little bit at the end, they're so pyrophoric that they'll just like combust in contact with air, and that's just like oh my god, all the science. And like learning all that kind of stuff is like really, really fascinating as well to me. So I'm just like, oh my god, all the science is awesome. But yeah, there was a lot of things like during my degree when I was just like, this is so damn cool, and this is why I really, really adore science. Those two are just some of the things I've done in my lab in the lab that were just awesome. But recently, it's been a while since I've seen anything that's been like just like taking my breath away. I'm like, oh my god, this is the greatest. I saw some things that were pretty cool recently, like they're building in, I don't know whether it was Japan or China, they built a lab inside where they can grow, I think, lettuces in like ridiculous conditions, and like they can be as productive as like 10-acre field in the space of about, I don't know, like a really small space, so like a 200 square meter building, and like just stack everything on top of one another with certain lights, and it can grow the lettuce can grow fast, and it definitely sort out the problems, like famine problems, if we can adapt that technology as well to just to be able to mass market it and move it to locations that that necessarily famine exists, or also it would help in like so many different areas as well, and not just famine areas but areas where they're land poor, like Singapore, or their landslide is it's too wet or it's too cold or it's too hot. So like yeah, it's just things like that really captivated my attention actually recently. I'm just like, oh my god, that's a really awesome article. So yeah, lots of things in science, but predominantly the sodium dissolving in mercury was one of the coolest things I think I've ever seen. But yeah, a lot of the things that I've done in labs, which you start with a compound and you end with a different compound entirely, and you can characterize it fully. That also just blows my mind that we have the ability to do that. And I really like science because I like the analysis side of things as well, and that's really what I'm doing. I'm just like, oh my god, that's the greatest. So I'm going to leave it there because I could probably keep talking for another 10 minutes or so, and I do enough talking as it is.
Yeah, I think that's a great answer. I think I agree with some of the there was a moment in high school where you do the different reagents and like chemicals into a test tube, and it makes a rainbow.
Yep.
And I think that might have been one of the first times I was like, science is so cool.
Yeah, I remember like when I was in when we were in sixth form, so probably year 13, we were all doing these reactions, and we had phenol out, and phenol's a solid, but it can dissolve really quickly. And is it a solid? I can't remember. But I got the burns. I got burns from that chemical all over my hands, and I was like, oh no. But what it does is it just like, it looks like it blisters your hands, so they go up and they swell a little bit. But if you get glycerol, which is just like a syrupy sugary syrup even, it's a basis, and you do add it to cooking things and things like that. But if you get that and you like rinse your hands in it and wash your hands in that for a while, all the blisters go away because it reacts and it just disappears. So like, it was really cool to have like my hands like completely blistered and red and horrible, and then just go and like rinse them in this syrup kind of stuff, and my hands be perfectly
really
fine
cool.
like 5 minutes later. I'm like, oh my god, that's another thing that blew my mind as well. And I was like, oh, that's amazing. Science is so damn cool. So yeah, with that, I'm going to stop there because otherwise I could probably keep talking, like I said, for ages. And thank you very much, Casey, for being my guest. Why don't you promote yourself away? Where can we find your yourself on the Rooster Teeth site and your podcast and other things that go on?
I'm just on the Eargasm podcast, so definitely look that up because it's awesome. Otherwise, I'm just MillsK on the site, and I just kind of put up crafty things when I do them. Yeah. No, I'm not very interesting.
Well, I've thought you've been plenty interesting enough, so thank you very much for being my guest.
Thank you for having me.
No problem. And with that, goodbye, everyone.